Me and my friend decided to go on a road trip one day. We decided to leave the coming weekend. As we started the journey, we started enjoying and having fun. After 6 hours of driving, we got tired and decided to take a break. I stopped the car on the side of the road, and we started walking around the area. We stopped in the middle of nowhere. There were trees, bushes, and open fields around us. While walking, my friend noticed a human skull in the middle of a pattern. We saw it at the same time. I was a bit far from him. I was about to yell, "Don't touch it!" But it was too late. He took the skull in his hand and started observing it. After a while, he threw it, and we continued to drive. I was feeling a bit uneasy. I had a feeling that we were not supposed to touch that thing, but my friend wasn't bothered at all. After a while, we both forgot about it and were on our way. After an hour or two, my friend was feeling very uneasy. He had this severe headache. We then looked for a spot and decided to stay the night. The next morning when I saw my friend, I was shocked. He was looking completely pale and was very ill. I couldn't believe it. It seemed very sudden and unnatural. We couldn't call the cops or an ambulance since we had no service. I started driving in the hopes of finding a hospital. But after driving for several hours, we found nothing. We were in the middle of nowhere. And then I found a house near a farm. I stopped the car, rushed into the house, and asked for help. There was an old couple living in the house. They immediately came to help and carried my friend inside. They told us that the nearest hospital was at least 50 miles, and they offered us to stay for a few days until my friend was in the condition of traveling. They seemed good people. They offered us food and some medical aid that they had, but nothing would work for my friend. The couple had some sheep and horses. They took care of them. The next day was pretty normal, but the following night was nothing short of a nightmare. At midnight, I heard a knock. I immediately woke up and was about to open the door. Then the knock turned into a bang. I was shook. Before I could do anything, the door started violently moving back and forth, as if someone was trying to open the door and get in. My friend woke up, but he was not in a condition to move, but he was so scared that I could see it on his face. Then suddenly the banging stopped. We didn't move an inch. Then we heard loud footsteps outside. They were heavy and were very fast. Then all of a sudden everything just stopped, and it was completely silent. I told my friend it must be some animal to calm him down, but deep down I knew it didn't sound like one. The next morning, I was just walking around the farm, and then I noticed that some sheep were missing. Now I was even more suspicious that something was in fact outside the door trying to get in. When I asked the couple if they heard anything last night, they said they didn't hear anything. But the sound which we heard last night was so loud that it was impossible for them to not hear it. I even asked them about the missing animals, but they didn't answer it properly. They were just avoiding the question. We knew we had to leave as early as possible, though my friend was a bit better now, but he was in no condition to travel. While I was wandering in the house, I noticed there was this one particular room which was locked all the time. It seemed weird, but I didn't think much about it. The following night, we were both prepared for what was going to happen, but it was different this time. There was no banging or running outside the door this time. Instead, something weird was happening to the animals near the farm. When we heard the screaming, we looked outside the window. The horses were freaking out and running like something was chasing them. I opened the door and was trying to find the couple to ask them what was wrong with the animals, but they were nowhere to be seen. Then I noticed there was light coming from under the door of the locked room. I was surprised, as the room was always locked. I started walking towards the door to see who exactly was in that room. What I saw shocked me. I saw the couple sit near a weird pattern and were performing some weird ritual, and then I saw a black structure emerging from the pattern. When it screamed, it was sounding like a demonic growl. I just froze. Before I could react to anything, they beheaded a sheep right then and there. At that moment, I understood why the animals went missing. But that wasn't even the worst part. I heard them talking about another sacrifice for the ritual, the human sacrifice. They were planning to sacrifice both of us in the ritual. They were happy, as with the human sacrifice, the ritual would be completed. As I was about to get out of there with my friend, they heard a creaking sound while I was slowly stepping backwards. They both saw me and started chasing. I immediately rushed and woke my friend up. He couldn't run properly, so I carried him and tried to get out of the house. As I was running, I saw them chasing us with knives and axes. I was so scared that I was about to lose my balance. But I continued to run. Since they couldn't reach me, the man threw a knife on me. It cut me, and it slowed me down. They were almost catching up to me. But somehow I managed to reach the car and made my friend sit in the car, and then I rushed to the driver's seat and started the car. But before I could start, the man struck the back of the car with the axe. I freaked out even more and drove my car. They were screaming and cursing, but I drove out of there as fast as I could. To this day, I get chills down my spine when I think, what would have happened if I didn't wake up that night?